On there, folks. Good afternoon. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Friday. Finally, Friday, the weekend upon us. Last day of March, the 31st, 2023, about 12:31 p.m. here along the West Coast in California. Latest quake shows some earthquake activity out here around the Mediterranean and also some movement around Turkey. We'll get to that here in just a second. The bigger picture today is the extreme weather potential out in the areas of the Midwest area. A rare high category up here. Notice the, I guess it's kind of pink here on this end, or purple. High risk day. That's not a good sign for this area. We are getting the storms firing up as we speak, but let's run into this real quick. The high risk category is where the most intense potential for storming, severe storming, can take place here today. That includes a significant 30% chance of an EF2 to EF5 tornadoes within 25 miles of a point. That's crazy. That is going to be a scary day. Make sure you guys got your weather radio on all day today. Again, that's in the, it covers Memphis, Tennessee area, Nashville, St. Louis, Missouri, Des Moines, Iowa, Little Rock, Arkansas, just to name a few in that hatched area of 30% chance. Now, the wind going to be a big deal out there as well, along with some hail potential. But the main thing right now is watching for that tornado potential outbreak here today across a large portion of the Midwest out here. All right. I was looking at the weather radar here just a little bit ago. We do have storms firing up back into portions of Texas, all the way up into our high-risk area. Includes, right around Little Rock, Jonesboro area, getting in on some action as well, and firing up into the Missouri and Illinois area as well. Where is my weather radar scope here? Really awesome app to use. A lot of people are asking, what app do I use for the most advanced weather radar? And I firmly believe that Radar Scope, this is the Windows version. This is separate. You're going to have to purchase this separately. But if you're talking about on your phone, it is free on the App Store. And there's different versions to purchase if you want to upgrade. But right now, looks like just outside of Little Rock, right around the radar. This little circle right here is actually where the radar is located. So getting a little hook echo right here indicating potential tornado activity. A look on the velocity scope here. Kind of hard to tell with that lack of data. But this is a tornado warned storm just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. A couple other tornado warned storms up north as well into that separate, remember we were looking at that separate high risk area. There's two different sections up here around the about southern Iowa area, and then the other ones down here around Arkansas and the Tennessee area. Many different severe thunderstorms out there as well in the yellow boxes. This red box here is the a tornado watch area, and that's kind of a big deal, covering a large portion of this area, including down here to Texas. It looks like they extended that down there. So be on guard today, folks. This is kind of a big deal. We'll definitely be checking up on this throughout the afternoon. Look at these individual discrete thunderstorms popping off. Those are the ones that most likely have a potential of getting a tornado brewing, so to speak. But also, when this thing forms into a kind of like a squall line, you do get those embedded tornadoes that can be just as bad. So be weather aware today, folks, let me tell you. All right, earthquake activity. Moving on. Got some movement out here along the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench this morning. Had a 4.9. Well, this is probably the Japan Trench, it looks like. Some activity there yesterday into the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. There was a super deep earthquake up here along the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench on the globe a little bit ago. That has since been removed. So not for sure what happened. Looks like maybe it was a false earthquake or a readjustment of the depth of one of these quakes up here. But definitely seeing a pretty good clutter again around the Molucca Sea, Indonesia area, and some deeper activity here across the Fiji area. Let's go ahead and check down south here and see what we got. Pretty good cluster of earthquakes there, all below 500 kilometers deep, indicating some major plate boundary adjustment. Well, plate adjustment underneath this area into the Tonga Trench. That should amplify conditions further to the northwest with that general plate movement here. That could put the swarming a little bit more intense as we go throughout the day today across this area. One adjustment downstream here of all that deeper activity up north is a 4.5. I believe that was coming in late last night, it looks like, into the Kermadec Trench. Not a whole lot of activity here across New Zealand today, but that doesn't mean there isn't any. USGS is just a little picky on what they want to show for data. So we'll go ahead and check out GeoNet servers real quick, just run through them and see what is being reported out here. I like to check the earthquake drums just to get a good view of any data, any earthquakes that are going on across the raw seismographs here. And there's not a whole lot, folks. As you can see, South Island looks clear. North Island up here, as you can see the dots here, this is where all the seismograph stations are. Looks clear as well. So not a whole lot going on across the New Zealand area. One earthquake down here on the southeast Indian Ridge of 4.8 western Indian Antarctica Ridge. This is a divergent boundary, a couple different fracture zones out here as well. There's that cluster of earthquakes here across the region. Let's see, what do we have here? Into the Izu Trench, it looks like 73 kilometers deep. I believe we had a deeper movement quake there. Was it yesterday? A couple days ago. Started off some deeper movement here. Further, it seems like the further left you go here on the screen, that's going further down into the trench area underneath this region is where you get some of those deeper quakes. And of course, the deeper quakes do tend to build stress for some larger quakes upstream, but for now, looks like a couple shallower earthquakes into the upper portions here of the Izu Trench, with a 5.4 being the latest, looks like from last night. All right, let's see what else we have here. Across China region, this earthquake from last night as well. Seems like we got a lot of stuff from last night. 4.1, 30 kilometers deep. This area is fairly active, but you wouldn't know if you were looking at unless you were looking at a different agency. This earthquake 3D globe is integrated with the USGS and the EMSC data. So, great combination there of two agencies. Looks like quite a few there's a few fours out here around Turkey area, actually to the west here. In the Mediterranean, there's a 4.8 coming in fairly recent. Let's go ahead and check this out and see where this is specifically located. Around southern Greece, 4.8 coming in earlier this morning. It looks like 132 kilometers deep. It's actually fairly deep for that area. That could trigger some, looks like it's already triggering some swarming out here around the region. Further west here as well, seeing a couple threes and some twos. Fairly active day, it looks like, across that region of the world. Nothing going on across the Atlantic for now. Getting some deeper quakes down here into the Chile area. That is a super deep earthquake. What is that, 3.5? Which one is that? It's got to be that 4.0, right? Yep. 4.0 coming in just a couple hours ago. 616 kilometers deep. See if the USGS is reporting up on that. Yeah. Negative. Negatory. So we do have some deeper movement quakes going on into the Peru-Chile Trench. That could amplify conditions upstream, where we did see some activity, of course, popping off here over the last few days or so. Of course, that Chile earthquake had a 6.3 off the coast. Pretty shallow. But again, we're getting some deeper movement quakes here into the Peru-Chile Trench, which could amplify some surface quaking here today. All right, Big Island of Hawaii. Let's see what we have here. Kilauea Volcano still showing some activity up here. And the Pahala area, no major adjustments noted. Just a little bit broader earthquake activity today across the Big Island. Up into the Aleutian Trench, well, there's not a whole lot going on here. Still seeing a little bit of activity across the Tanaga and the Takawanga volcano here. See if I can spit that out. It's Friday, so I'll let that one slide. But not as active as what we've seen here over the past couple weeks. Here's the last 30 days of earthquake activity on the map. That's quite a bit, right? Talking about, 2,389 earthquakes across these two volcanoes with no eruption and really no signs of an eruption either. Certain volcanoes up here can have these earthquake swarms come up out of the blue, and then that'll be it. And it kind of looks like that's it for now for this area, but we'll continue to watch that, see if it transforms into anything else more than a swarm, that is. Across the Cook Inlet area, getting quite a bit of smaller quake activity. I don't think we've seen too much larger scale movement. A little bit of earthquake activity up north. 3.0 and a 3.7, relatively shallow up here into parts of Alaska. Let's see, West Coast area. See what we have going on. Pacific Northwest. A little spotty activity here. Nothing above 2.5 into the Pacific Northwest area. Yesterday we did see some activity here off the coast of Oregon into the Cascadia subduction zone. Seeing if we got anything here from today. We did have one more earthquake, 1.8 down here in the northern Cal, 19 kilometers deep. That's associated with the Cascadia subduction zone underneath this area. Let's see what else we have across California. Not a whole lot as far as 2.5 and above goes. Most of this, if not all of it, you see is all microquake, but still, it's movement nonetheless. And the creeping segment here of the San Andreas Fault showing a little bit of activity near Pinnacles. Southern California specifically. Looks like a typical day down there, right? No major swarms. The San Andreas Fault is quiet for now. It's building up some pressure, though. A little bit of activity down into the Baja California area as well with a couple threes from last night. Yellowstone, let's see what we got going on here. Looks like the USGS added a few more earthquakes up here on the map, but you know me, I definitely want to make sure that all data is being reported. So let's go ahead and check out the Yellowstone thumbnails. It kind of looks like it's working today, half of it. And the swarm that we were seeing here over the past couple days has mellowed out, and it kind of looks as though, let's see here. See, the epicenter is over here around the borehole area. This is local seismic activity. Not quite as active. There's still a handful of quakes here. But it looks as though maybe we're getting a little bit of migration over here of the swarming. Just a tad bit around the Maple Creek region. Seen a couple smaller quakes here that are not showing up across the Yellowstone, or the Lake Yellowstone area. So a little handful of separate quakes in a different region of Yellowstone. But yeah, it kind of looks like things are mellowing out at the super volcano. And, a lot of people got many different questions on that. Earthquake swarms are very common, definitely at Yellowstone. And they come and go. Some last for months, some last for a couple days. But if we were to expect any type of, future eruption, we would be looking at broad-scale earthquake activity. I'm talking about 4s and 5s all over the place, and obvious GPS vertical displacement in the uplift terms. But right now, that's not happening. Who knows when it will either, but right now things are fairly calm across Yellowstone in terms of any eruption activity. All right, let's move on here across this area. And, of course, severe weather out here today. Texas, What do we got going on out there this morning? Looks like a couple 1s and 2s. Nothing major out here in the oil fields. Rest of the country fairly quiet. Around Puerto Rico, a couple smaller quakes up here around the Puerto Rico Trench and the swarming area, southwestern edge of the swarming area, continuing to show some movement. This has just been an ongoing thing here for quite a while. There is a couple different subduction zones at play here. Of course, you got the Mariottis Trough, Puerto Rico Trench, a whole bunch of shoving around and pushing under, and I guess you can use those terms in plate tectonics because that's what's going on here, creating a little bit of swarming there around the Puerto Rico area with those dynamics at hand. All right, let's see here. Trying to see if I missed anything up here on the map. A newer earthquake, 3.1 coming in to the Chile area. That's going to be expected following the deeper activity. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's about it. 4.2. Actually, that's the latest quake up here in our quiet zone. Coming in here into the Andaman Sea area. Now that one was coming in, it looks like about an hour or so ago, right? A couple, maybe an hour and a half. This area has been relatively quiet in terms of movement, so we'll continue to watch that as well. All right, space weather activity. Let's jump over here real quick and see what's going on. And then we'll get off here and get this onto the channel. Looks like a large prominence eruption was observed off the northwest limb beginning 1400 UTC time. Looks like there was a CME that was not Earth directed, was produced. Beautiful feature there for sure. Let's see what we got for space weather sunspots. So not a whole lot of potential. Current data imagery here of the magnetic structure shows fairly stable conditions here across all of these sunspots. There's not even really any to watch out here as far as any potential goes. Still 95% chance for an C flare, M flare at 15, X flare at 5. A little on the elevated side, but I think that's still got to do with the this little regional sunspot over here, which is now the latest imagery shows it completely, just almost completely out of the Earth view. All right, did have a little bit of solar storming conditions last night. Kick up to around the KP index of 4, almost 5. That has since kind of died off, and we're not really looking at too much in terms of auroras for the next couple days. Only about a 45% chance at the higher latitudes. All right, folks, again, stay weather aware. Make sure you tune into your local news, and make sure you have some type of weather app as well on your phone. I'm almost always on my phone or my computer, so that tells me a lot of different stuff that's going on. Not only weather, but amber alerts, earthquake reports. Like if there's an earthquake nearby, I use the early alert shake app. Anyone can download that. Anyone can download a weather app, and most weather apps do give out notifications when you're inside of a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, or any type of warning. Just make sure you keep it handy today. Make sure you enable notifications there for your phone, and of course keep it off of silent mode today, because today is the day you don't want to be left in the blind out there in the in that severe weather. So stay safe, and hopefully we don't have any damages from any tornadoes today, but the likelihood of tornadoes are fairly high across the areas as mentioned in this video. Take care, folks. We'll catch you guys back here tonight with the update video. Stay safe.